Honorable Kok, as one of the struggle movement liberators, on January 21st last month, during the reception ceremony of Lieutenant General Abraham Kat Bishop, you described Fangak as a hub of resistance from the Anyanya 1 era to the birth of SPLM, SPLA in 1983. For young South Sudanese who may not know this history, how would you summarize Fangak Sani's role in the liberation struggle?
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting question. First of all, let me describe what is that geographical location called Fangak. Fangak comprised of 3 counties. It is Fangak, the mother, is Piji, and is Hayut. Before expansion of administration, they were all one district, and by then one province. So the people who come from that geographical location, they are known in their history. The history of the liberation struggle, or the history of resistance against the successive regime in Khartoum. And I will just give you some individual names to confirm what I have stated during the reception of General Abraham Kat. Uncle Bosdio come from Fangak. He was the one who declared the federal system in 1953 in Parliament. And he was the one who visited the Equatorial Corps, those who rebelled in Torit in 1955. And he told them, you act as men, don't put your gun down. That was Bosdio.
Why is it that it's always, that credit is always given to Joseph Lago?
No, Joseph Lago came later. He became the leader of Anyanya. By then, Bosdio went there as a politician. But I'm telling you how the people of Fangak has been participating. He has encouraged them to rebel. During Anyanya 1, we have very prominent people. One of them is Abdallah Shawl. One of them is William Nguyen. One of them is John Kulang, John Kung, Isaac Galok, and many others. And these officers participated until 1972, when the Addis Ababa Agreement was assigned. So they were part of Sudanese army. But what I was specifically explaining during that reception, it started with 1983. And I was talking particularly about William Nguyen, which I got in your question, why do you give pride to William Nguyen? William Nguyen has a particular role in the formation of the SPLM. William Nguyen rebelled in Ayod on the 6th of June 1983, and he killed all the Arabs who were in Ayod, including 18 sergeants. And he captured Ayod and put all the Arab in the wells and form a formidable force. And when Dr. John heard that William has captured Ayotte and he has rebelled, an officer called Timothy Tiop Lual from Ngok Lualayak was sent to him that you come to Ethiopia.
So the movement was still not given a name.
By then, there were no name. It was just May 16, the war in Bor, and then Pibor, Pochala, where the forces of 105 were stationed. The second person who take action after Karbina in Bor was William Nguyen.
So which garrison?
It was a garrison in Ayotte.
Karbino attacked.
No, actually Karbina did not attack. Karbina was attacked. Karbina was attacked by the forces that was sent from Juba. And they fought in Bor. And then Karbina withdrew. They withdrew from Bor, and by then Dr. John was in Bor, and this is the beginning of people going to Ethiopia. A difference of days, or maybe 20-something days, so William Nguyen rebelled in Ayotte. We celebrate 16 May at the beginning of the revolution, because the first bullet, after silence of 16 years of relative peace, after the signing of the Addis Ababa agreement, the first bullet again, or the first war, started in Bor, May 16.
Who commanded those forces?
It was Karbina Kwanyin Bol and some of his colleagues. So when people went to Ethiopia, and this is what I want you to understand, when people, and that was the background of what I gave during the reception of General Abraham Kate. When we went to Ethiopia, two situations happened. There were Anyanya two who were there for 9 years. Those of Vincent Kwany, Gordon Kwang, and others. So when the officers that came from Sudan arrived there, so there were differences. Politicians went also. Akwada Tem, Guy Tut, Martin Majer, and then Abdallah Chol were there. So it was during the formation of the SPLM where William Nguyen became a decisive factor. And this is what I was alluding to, that without William Nguyen, John Garang would have not been a leader. And I want the listener to get this correctly. Why? When differences happen between Guy Tut, Akwada Tem, Abdallah Chol, and Gadjek on one side, then Dr. John, William Nguyen, Karbina Kwanyin, Salva Kiir on the other side. A decision was made because there were structures and there were hierarchy. And it was that hierarchy that was being contested by Abdallah Chol. When 4 people went to meet Mengistu Haile Mariam, by then the president of Ethiopia, a hierarchy was made. John Garang was to be responsible for the military wing, and Guy Tut were to be responsible for political wing. That was the arrangement. So when they came back from Addis Ababa to Etang, where the majority of the people were there, that decision was contested and it was rejected by Abdallah Chol. And Abdallah Chol began to agitate people, including Guy Tut. And Abdallah Chol was saying, you guys take the military wing, and then Quad Atem would take the political wing. That one did not go well with those officers who are on the other side, headed by John Garang, Karbina, Nguyen, Salva Kiir, and others. And by then, everybody have no army. It is only William Nguyen. We have 780 armed troops. You could not imagine, and Dr. John proved this in his interview. You can go and Google it. He said the area was a Nuer area, and the majority who were there, 80% was Nuers. Okay? So the others, ethnic group, were 20%. 80% was Nuers. Can you believe Guy Tut, Abdallah Chol, and Gadjik can run away from Etang, which residents were majority Nuer? The only person they were fearing was William Nguyen, because William Nguyen was the one having force. So when they decided people go for election, a very a traditional election, it was two people who were contesting. It was John Garang and his uncle Akwada Tem, which is very unfortunate. They came from the same area. They are Dinka and they are Tuch. But because what was in the mind of people was not tribalism or ethnicity, people were thinking who is to lead well. So William Nguyen stood with Dr. John, and because of that they were having also a coordination that they were doing before May 16. So they were working together when they were in the Sudanese army, and they were having an arrangement. And William Nguyen said, no, we were not coming here to play. We were coming here to organize ourselves and go and fight the regime of Numeri. Anybody who is trying to be causing obstacle, we will not accept. By then he is the one who have the force. So those of Abdallah, those of Gaitu, those of Akwad Atem, what was at the mercy of William Nguyen, because he was the one having army. So they have to run away. After they ran away, and then William Nguyen decided that Dr. John, you are the chairman and you are a commander-in-chief. The two positions that were divided.
William Nguyen.
Yeah, William Nguyen was the one who decided on this. John Garang, you are now the chairman and commander-in-chief, and forget about these people. We were coming here not to come and play. We are coming to get support and go back and fight. And majority, all of us, including myself, because this thing I'm saying, these are not here saying, are what they are physically. And I want those listeners to understand that what I'm saying is what I was seeing, because I was there physically. Okay? So they decided to form a what they call Provisional Military Committee, comprised of 5 people. Dr. John as a chair and commander-in-chief, Karbina Kwanyin become his deputy. Why Karbina Kwanyin become deputy is because of the regional balance. William Nguyen was senior to him when they were in the Sudanese army. Karbina get 2 advantage. He was the one who shoot the first bullet. Number 2, he come from Barghazal. So it didn't come to the mind of people.
Dr. John and William Nyon were from Upper Nile.
And Dr. John William Nyon from Upper Nile. So for fairness, so the second man should be Karbina, irrespective that they are, both of them are Dinka. That was not in the mind of people. So Karbina become the deputy chairman and deputy commander-in-chief. So William Nyon become number 3. And then Salva Kiir number 4. And Postina Pokmajok, which many people does not know, were number 5. Postina was killed on the 1st of March in Awil, 1984. So they were 5. And they called themselves Provisional Military Committee in Arabic. اللجنة العسكرية المؤقتة. And that was the beginning of a full take-off of the SPLA, SPLM, because by then it was SPLA who were having the upper hand, because this is a political win. Okay. So that is why I give that pride to William Nyon.
Now, there is still controversial narratives about how SPLM, SPLA leadership emerged. You have given examples earlier. Why do you think this story is still being debated today?
It is being debated by those who were not there and those who wanted to distort the history. Because there are some people who have the tendencies that they want to change history. And I'm happy General Pieng have cautioned people. You cannot change history in which some of the people are still alive, like me. I was there myself, and nobody can dispute this. Because physically I was there. When the SPLM was formed, I was there. And I was 23 years old. I'm already a man. And I know, not just a man, educated person also. So I know what was happening by day, by week, by month, by year. So these are facts. I have seen in so many books, people wanted to change history, but that one cannot happen. Dr. John himself confirmed that when he was asked by the interviewer of Jazeera that how was the formations, the tribal formation of the SPLA, SPLM, we were told that it was Dinka, Chuluk, and all this. He said X is the Uagal Arabi. Al-Aqs was saying Nuer were 80% because of 3 reasons. People were in the border, and that area is a Nuer area. Secondly, the factor of Anyanya too, who were before SPLA, they were also all Nuer. Led by Vincent Kwan. And therefore the majority during the formation of the SPLM were Nuer. And that is why I was saying, if the majority were Nuer, do you think a known leader like Samuel Gaitud and Abdallah Chol would run away if they were not fearing someone? They were not fearing John Garang. They were not fearing Karbina. And they were not fearing Salva. The person they were fearing was William Nyon. And by then it was William Nyon who have the army. These are the facts.
Some critics argue that today's political leadership are reshaping liberation history to suit their interests, like you stated earlier. Do you think the history of the struggle is being deliberately altered, and to what end?
I would say these are opportunists You cannot alter history. History must remain as it is. Whether you modernize it, you put different language, history will always prevail. You know, did you read the Bible? In John chapter 8, verse 35, it says, if you know the truth, say the truth, so that truth set you free. Yes. Anybody who were there, like the chairman, Dr. John, have said the truth. And that truth will continue to be there. And as I'm speaking to you, I will say something that had happened in my present. I will not add more, and I will not decrease anything. I will put the facts as they appeared. So if some people are trying to distort the history to suit their interests, a time would come when they will be ashamed. Because you cannot twist it history. History is a history. And it remains to those who did it. Whether you like them or not, it is their credit.
The liberation struggle is often discussed through ethnic lenses. According to you, like, which communities did really contributed to the liberation of the country?
All the 64 ethnic groups have contributed to the liberation struggle, irrespective of their size. They are all participated. And for that matter, I've disagreed with people who always wanted to take the credit. The live example is a referendum. Who did not participate in the referendum? And a referendum was a final move to our independence. And people of South Sudan, all of them participated. Because of some reason, maybe some will participate less, or some have participated more, like the number of the Nuer and the Dinka. You cannot compare them with the number of Pajulu, for instance. Okay? The population-wise, including their heroes and martyrs, will be more. But the ultimate aim is that people were looking for freedom for all. So you don't give credit to particular ethnic group or particular tribe, as people describe them. The credit goes to people of South Sudan, irrespective of their size, their region, their area, sex, creed, and you mentioned them. They are all equal. And I want to qualify this. People of South Sudan are all equal before God. They are all equal before land. And they are all equal before the Constitution. Nobody who is better than the other. So this credit of freedom is for all of them. But the history will show who does what. Like what Dr. John have done, nobody will deny it. For 100 years and 1,000 years to come, you will say it, John Garang was a visionary leader. And he have led the people of South Sudan into freedom.
The question of who championed South Sudanese right to self-determination remains controversial till today. Who do you think truly fought for self-determination, and what sets the role apart? Is it Dr. John Grant or Dr. Riek Machar? Because a lot of books written by different scholars says Dr. Machar was the very person who fought for self-determination.
The right of self-determination was actually the noble goal for the people of South Sudan. Even the conference of 1947 that was held here in Juba, even though it was attended by our traditional leaders who were not educated, they called for the right of self-determination. But that one was played down by the regime in Khartoum. From that time, nobody raised the issue of right of self-determination. People have been talking always about the federal. People of South Sudan should be granted federalism. It was on the 28th of August 1991 when NASA declaration explicitly made it very clear in a very clear document that the people of South Sudan need to champion the right to self-determination, or must be granted the right to self-determination. And that was a declaration made by Dr. Riek. So the scholars who give credit to Dr. Riek, they are right, because it was Dr. Riek who came up very clear with a clear definition. Even when the right of self-determination was included in the Machakos Protocol, the same text of NASA declaration, even a comma, were not changed, because it says, after the interim period, 6 months before the end of the interim period, the people of South Sudan shall exercise the right to self-determination in internationally supervised referendum to determine their destiny, either to choose for unity or secession or separation. That was very clear in our declaration. So it has also become very controversial because people fought. People killed themselves because of this. And to confirm this, that the right of self-determination was championed by Nasser faction in 1992 in Abuja 1 and Abuja 2. The two factions of the SPLM, SPLA, Torit faction and Nasser faction went and agreed to form a joint delegation to champion the right to self-determination when they were negotiating with Bashir regime. That was the first time. The second time was on the 26th of October 1993 in Washington. An initiative called Washington Initiative, headed by somebody called Harry Johnston, in which Dr. John went and signed officially for the first time that a right of self-determination shall be on the top of our negotiating agenda. And that came and confirmed by IGAD in 1994 during the Declaration of Principle, DOP. So the right of self-determination from there was actually on our reach. It was going out to international community and to people of South Sudan. And to confirm this, for the first time in history, Khartoum admit in Khartoum Peace Agreement in 1997 to put the right to self-determination into their constitution. Article 14, they called Mursum Rabashara, and it was Dr. Riek who did that. So, as I said before, say the truth and the truth will set you free. A credit must be given to who it belongs to. So Dr. Riek has been a champion for the right of self-determination, even though it has been in the mind of the people. The person who came and accelerated and expedited and made people to be aware of the right of self-determination was Dr. Riek. Whether people have grievances with him or not, that is his credit.
South Sudan gained independence at a huge cost and yet descended into another conflict in 2013. Now, looking back, what do you think fundamentally went wrong after 2011?
I think this is a very interesting question. Something went wrong. Something went wrong within the SPLM leadership. Because, you know, you people, you are young people. There are processes that would have been taken before even July 2011 Independence Day. You know the period, the period between 9th of January, when we casted our vote in a referendum, and the result came out in February, it was obvious that we are going to be independent. There are certain things that were to be done in that period. One of them would have been a post question. SPLM would have asked itself, now we are going to have a new country. Are we ready to govern? Because spraying 47 bullets is different from managing people and managing resources. Okay? So they were supposed to have a national conference during these 6 months who would call all people of South Sudan from all walk of life, from different sectors. Educationists, agriculturists, those who are well versed in diplomatics work, and people would have asked themselves, now the result of referendum show that we are going to have a country. For instance, what would be the policy of our education system in that new republic? What is going to be our food security, the agriculture, system of our governance, the local government, the traditional, all this should have been done by the expert and form a vision of a new country. That one was not done. And that is why people went into lockerhead. Through what? Through the Constitution. So the conflict of 2013 was actually one is that SPLM leadership did not discipline themselves. They thought that they are still in the bush. Okay? They didn't look into country as a sovereign country, that you don't decide things on your own. The mistake was this. During the making of the Constitution, and I was one of the committee, and I argue, what brought 2013 was the issue of whether President Kiir was a legitimate elected president or not. People have different perspective. Myself, I say no. The legitimate elected president was Omar al-Bashir. President Kiir was elected on a sub-entity to fulfill the requirement of the CPA. So if we are going to have a new republic, a country, Salva Kiir need to be given, we take the model of Rwanda. You give Salva Kiir 7 years. to establish the country. Some of the guys who are there, some of them God have took them. Some of them are still alive. They say no. Salva Kiir is a legitimate elected president, so he has already spent 1 year and he remained with 4 years. Remaining with 4 years means people have to go for election. Can you really believe, Matik? Just you just got independent, and in 4 years you go for election? Would you do the permanent constitution? Have you established institution? The leadership of the SPLM could not take a disciplinary procedures. Everybody wanted to contest. So the 2013 was an SPLM making. People of South Sudan are very innocent, because what I have said, that President Kiir should be given 7 years, 5 years foundation of the country, and then 2 years you prepare, you go for election, like what was done by Rwanda after they have crisis. They give 7 years to Kagame. But people who were very, how do I call them? They were very anxious to get into leadership. Say no. He remained with 4 years. Then 2011 came. 2012 came. 2013 he remained with how many years? 2 years. So people wanted to go for.
They were counting the years.
They were counting the years, and they want to go for campaign. To me, I call it indiscipline in the SPLM. And that 2013 crisis, President Kiir was right. President Kiir was right. And I was repeated. President Kiir was right. He was not expecting this. And even someone like me, I was not expecting this. Because there were no need at all for people to fight over the leadership. First of all, we did not even give services to the people. There is no road constructed, no university, no hospital, and you name them. So you are fighting for what? And you should also learn from others' liberation movement. How many years Museveni has been ruling? How many years Kagame has been ruling? How many years Sam Nujuma of Namibia? And then Mallas. So the indiscipline in the SPLM caused the 2013 crisis.
Now, fighting continues in parts of Jonglei State and other states, Unity State, Eastern Equatoria, and Western Equatoria, also Central Equatoria. But at the moment, particularly in Jonglei State, some portray it as a Dinka and Nuer conflict. Do you agree with this framing? Or does it oversimplify the political drivers behind the violence?
The good thing is that Dr. Riek have never pronounced one day that this fighting or this war is waging it against Dinka. He always said a regime led by Salva Kiir. Let record be put straight. Riek have never pronounced that he's fighting Dinka. But those who wanted to destroy South Sudan are always falling into ethnic line. And it becomes syndrome. Okay? It becomes syndrome. The fact that the majority who supported Riek are from Nuer does not tantamount that the fighting which is happening is between Nuer and the Dinka. Because the forces who are fighting IO are not from Dinka. Okay? Let it be made very clear. But people who have their own interests are always portraying this kind of situation into ethnic line. And you have heard the statement made by Martin Ilya. He made that statement categorizing Nuer, to project Nuer as a legitimate target
hostile and friendly
to the government. And he ran out of political terms. He would have said areas controlled by IO. But he ran by saying this is hostile and this is friendly. While there are people of government within those areas. During the endorsement of the chairman, I went to Fangak, and there are SPLM members in Fangak. Would you come and describe them that they are hostile? So these are people who want to magnify this conflict into this big ethnic group because they have their own intention. If this ethnic group are peaceful, they may not get what they are getting now. And they know these two are cousins. Nuer and the Dinka are cousins. Okay? But they want to magnify this fight that it is between Dinka and the Nuer, which is not true. The reason being put forward by IO, reform, they are not going to reform Dinka. They are reforming government. So the fighting which is happening, it is between IO as an organization, rebels, whether majority are Nuer or not. You should not call this war is between Dinka and the Nuer. No.
Same issue was also repeated by Lieutenant General Johnson Olony.
Yeah, he was even following what was said by a #1 minister in the government. And nothing was done to
Why
him.
are all these things happening?
They are happening because they wanted to benefit.
And the president is watching.
The president is at war. You know, the statement being done during war, you cannot control. Some of them are emotional. So what is being said by Olony is even damaging himself because he's not a general of Chuluk. He's a general of the Republic of South Sudan, in which he commands all the 64 ethnic groups if they are in army. So people have run short of thinking. So to me, I will not be interested to talk about this, because at the end of the day, nobody who have a right to say X and Y, I don't want you in South Sudan, because we did not ask ourselves that we will be South Sudanese. Nuer did not ask Chuluk to be where they are. Or God did not ask Nuer that I want to put Chuluk to be your neighbors. Or ask Dinka that I want to put Nuer to be your neighbors. Or ask Kakwa to ask them that I want to put Kuku to be your neighbors. No, it's a God making. And nobody who have a right to say, I don't want X or Y. We are all South Sudanese. Irrespective of whatever is happening, it will end. And I want to assure you, many countries goes through such situation and they come out.
What's your final message to the leadership of South Sudan and its citizens as the country struggles with division, insecurity, and unfulfilled promises of peace?
Myself, I did my thesis when I was doing my master's degree on a revitalized agreement. And all the recommendations that I put in my thesis had now happened. Honestly speaking, this peace agreement was made to destroy South Sudan. From the perspective of definition of peace, I call it regional geopolitics peace agreement. It was made to make people of South Sudan cycling around, struggling for themselves, struggling for their economic, because the peace agreement was made in such a way that it must drain all our resources so that we become vulnerable and they will be benefiting from our market. Like now, the devaluation of our pound is benefiting all the neighbors. Khartoum and Kampala have actually put us into disadvantage. This revitalized peace agreement is not revitalizing the South Sudan. Huh? He is actually ruining. It should be called ruining South Sudan. Why? One, what kind of agreement that you will have 650 members of parliament here in national? Where would you get the money to pay them? Two, what kind of agreement that you will have 45 ministers, considering our population? Where else in the world that you have 5 vice presidents? Each vice president have with 5 B8. Do you know that the price of 1 B8 is a primary school? You can build a primary school with the money of 1 B8. So 5 vice presidents, 1,000 members of legislative assembly at level of 10 states plus 3 administrative areas. And now 100 ministers plus administrative areas. To make it worse, you cannot put an army in one country with 2 or with more commander-in-chief. This is a recipe of conflict. To me, the peace agreement is not there. The peace agreement is not there. Why? Because, one, the structure that makes the peace agreement to be together is not working. All the mechanisms are not there. Okay? And now there is fighting. Whoever say that we are not in, the country is not in at war, this is defeating the intelligence of people. The country is at war. Because what is the definition of war? I'm a general, a well-trained. A definition of war, it is when you use all the war equipment. The war equipment, including warplane, artillery, gunship. This is war. One problem here, which is my message, what you have said. You know, if you have realized someone have made something very difficult to you, you come back to yourself. and you think on how to get out of this. If regional geopolitical peace become a problem to us, then you come back, because this is your country. That is what is called ownership, belonging. So the report that has been coming from argument, it is me who used to write it in the parliament, because I'm in the committee of peace. They are always mentioning three things. One, lack of political will. Two, lack of funding from the government. Then lack of support from international community. If you have these three are not functioning, then you don't have peace. The question is this: where is South Sudan going to? Which direction are we going? So it has been said that we are going for election. And the peace agreement will be amended. Okay? If the peace agreement is amended, so it means peace agreement have ended. The peace agreement, the whole political parties, the signatories to the peace agreement, have said that the peace agreement must be amended and is on its way to assembly.
No more extension.
No more extension, because it becomes difficult that it cannot be implemented. So the only way is for you to go for election, whether it is a partial election or a general election. This is what is going to be seen.
Do you think there will be an election, since the SPLM forces are advancing towards Juba?
Don't put the cart before the horse. So whether the election is going to be there or not, it has already been taken as a direction now. Whatever obstacle will happen, nobody will predict it as we are speaking. The position taken by the party to revitalize agreement, whether IO is there or not, is that people are going for election. That is the truth of the matter. But the people of South Sudan need to think twice. Would they want to continue like this? Or they want a prosperous, peaceful, stable, and permanent peace? It is our choice. Nobody who will tell us be in peace. It is we to say we want to live in peace. So the people of South Sudan have a choice. If this is how they believe they should be living, fine. It is they to get it. But if they want to live like other nations, like Uganda, like Kenya, like Ethiopia, then they will sit down and they will decide what is good for them. Not particular group of people. It must be a collective responsibility.
Honorable Kok, thank you so much for talking to King TV.
I'm very happy to talk to King. King is I think is the last positions in all the hierarchy of responsibility.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.